My name is William Bellows. I go by Billy, and here at MIT I'm in the mechanical engineering department and also MIT Sloan as part of the LGO program. I went to Messiah College for undergrad for mechanical engineering and graduated in 2009. After that I worked for a short time in an American manufacturing plant and then moved to China for about 2.5 years, where I was working in a manufacturing plant doing metals and chemicals manufacturing. So I was right there on the floor helping out and laying out some new production lines. It was a really good experience. I'm now working with Sanofi in Frankfurt, Germany, a pharmaceutical company, and I'm working with their supplier side for medical devices. So these medical devices are for injecting insulin for diabetes patients to be able to regulate their insulin levels throughout the day. And right now they've been dealing with some quality issues as the volume of production raises up. They're still having some quality issues from the suppliers. The suppliers send them completed sub-assemblies and they test those. They're having to reject batches. So I'm working on bringing a more technical viewpoint of how to address this quality issue. The production is in the hundreds of millions, and so even a couple percent of a reject rate causes a big problem, and the scope of the problem can make it difficult to deal with data analysis and also in finding the root causes which are causing these defects. And so through LGO, I think what's especially helped me here is just the process of thinking of the why thinking, of how digging in deeper instead of just taking I guess sometimes the approach that has been taken in the past for the problem has been to just kind of look at the data, glance at it, and then just look at the device, look at the physical device, and try to determine from that, are there any defects, can we notice any defects, visual inspection, and go from there. I used a lot of the tools now that I learned from my summer classes, especially in statistics, and being able to dig into the data and actually glean insight from the data before I go look at the device, so that I'm able to know what I'm going to be looking for specifically, and sometimes that can enable us to see more clearly what the problem is. So far we found that potentially some parts that up till now they had assumed were not a problem, that they'd never been able to see a physical defect on the part, so they assumed that it must not be part of the problem. What we're looking at now is that potentially interactions between parts that normally would be fine, that actually are all within spec, but the interactions of those parts are causing the problems. And so looking at that, and we're going to look at ways that we can potentially tweak just small dimensions on those parts to be able to solve the problem. I think one of the things that surprised me is that everyone hears Germany and they think beer, and they certainly have that, but the laid-back nature there surprised me, in that my coworkers are all very welcoming, and we spend a lot of time socializing, getting to know one another. Coffee breaks at least 3 times a day, gather around the espresso machine. But then also everyone's incredibly hardworking, and so people will be working really hard on these problems, but then they come together socially, and so throughout the department you're making these connections, and that's been really valuable for me in my project, and that there's this natural networking that goes on throughout the company that just has empowered my project. So I've really enjoyed that part of it as well. Sanofi's been amazing, really. The team has been incredibly welcoming. So I joined a team there that was already working on the problem, and they welcomed me in. There was no hesitation. They were really happy to have someone from MIT there to assist them with the problem. And at the same time, the visibility has been great at all levels. So I meet with the department head who's in charge of all of the supplier relations on a weekly basis. He makes time for my project to check in on our progress. And then also with other departments who are also stakeholders, I've been able to present to them and get a lot of support and feedback. I've been able to visit suppliers, and even the suppliers also have been real excited and supportive of the project. So that's been exciting to have that support really from day one. I'm only there for 6 months, and so to quote one of my professors, I was aggressively unambitious in trying to lay out what my deliverables would be for the project, and creating that understanding with Sanofi that, you know, how I can lay the foundations and the groundwork for starting to build the improvements and then turning it over to the team there to finish off that. And so because I'm working with a team now, we're looking to implement and start pilot testing of these improvements. And so we'll start those, and then the full implementation rollout with the suppliers will be probably down the road after my internship, likely the end of this year. And we're already trying to put that together, to put those plans together. So I think, you know, they're going to take my project and run with it, and that's really exciting. That it's not just going to die away after I leave.